Hello and welcome back to Politics here on France 24. The summer is over for François Hollande and so is his short honeymoon following his election back in May. With unemployment hitting the 3 million threshold and the growing feeling that his socialist government is moving too slowly to tackle the crisis, the socialist president is going through his first patch of rough weather. He needs to reassure the French that he's not only the anti-Nicolas Sarkozy, but he's someone who can steer them through those economic hard times. So can he pull it off, or will the bad news continue to pile one after the other? On the set today, Bruno Jambard, who is the head of polling with Opinionway, also on the set with me, Christian Macarion, the managing editor of L'Express magazine, and last but not least, Denis de Montpion, who is a senior writer with Le Nouvel Observateur magazine. So the polls have been showing a growing feeling that François Hollande may not be doing enough or quickly enough what he was elected to do back in May. Here is one of those polls showing that the satisfaction with Hollande dropped some 10 to 12 points over the summer. So we'll ask our experts in numbers, Bruno Jambard, to tell us why this has been happening so quickly, because at this point in his mandate, Nicolas Sarkozy was much higher.
Yes, I think it happened very quickly and more quickly than we thought, because during the parliamentary session in July, there was no really a lot of things who have been decided by the new government. And I think that some French thought that this government, after 10 years of the right in power, had a lot of things to do very quickly. And it was not the case. So that was the first problem, I think, with the French public opinion. And the second is the fact that, of course, François Hollande wants to change the way Nicolas Sarkozy was president. I mean, he wants to come back to an old period where the prime minister is in front of the problems. But I think that
the normal president, as he called it.
Yes, but I think that he forgot something that is very important. I think for the French, since the beginning of 2000, when the 5 years mandate was voted, the French they are voting for a president. They are electing a president, and they want the president to rule the country. They don't want him to be back of the prime minister and just commenting the political life. They want him to rule the country. They, of course, don't like the way Sarkozy did, the feeling he gave that he was doing everything, but they want François Hollande to rule the country, to really lead it. And I think that the fact that the president went during a long time in holidays during the summer, there was also a very long period of where the idea of the government was not here and was not working after his election was maybe too long for many people.
Was it a series of mistakes, or was it inescapable that the new president, coming in a very difficult economic situation, was obliged to quickly slide in the polls because people realize that unemployment is now over 3 million and that things are not looking brighter on the horizon?
I think the problem is deeper, much deeper. The feeling I have when I see the French politics is that we're still in campaign. We're still in an electoral campaign. I have not seen personally the difference between the campaign of François Hollande and François Hollande elected as president. So we don't have the feeling that a man, well, there is a pilot in the plane, that a man is ruling the country. There is a lack of vision, a lack of direction, more than a question of speed. You can go fast, you can go slow, that's a point, but where? It's the fundamental question, where to go, especially on economic questions and financial questions. I give you just an example. A word very often used in France is now competitivity. This question of competitivity is just a concept. It needs very clear, very concrete decisions. For instance, the companies pay too much taxes in France. We all know that. It goes against employment, it goes against our general competitivity, it goes against innovation and creation and technology. The first thing to do was to handle with this question. It is not the case. Hollande said last week again that our costs were comparable with Germany, which is untrue. We all know that. All the studies have shown that there is a big gap.
So you're saying he's avoiding the big decisions?
He's avoiding the big decision because very likely he has no clear vision of the general situation of the French economy, which is very strange because in the whole history of the Fifth Republic, we have the first president of the Republic who comes truly from the economic sphere. He knows what is a company. He knows very well the public expenses. He's expert on this question. And the people don't have the feeling that an expert is ruling the country. He gives more the feeling that he behaves against Sarkozy again. He has built on all his strategy to win the elections against Sarkozy, and we're still against Sarkozy. That gives the feeling that when he says something else, something different, he imitates Sarkozy. So he is trapped in his own strategy.
I just want, before we get to Denis de Montpion, to take a listen to the president, who seems to have listened to that criticism that he's not doing enough. Last Friday, he gave a speech in which he described how severe the crisis was here in France. Let's take a listen to François Hollande.
We are facing an exceptionally severe crisis, a long crisis that has been going on for over 4 years. I have not ignored reality. Now is not the time to judge the past anymore, but to act to prepare the future, starting today. My mission as President of the Republic is to lead our country, to make choices in an orderly way, at the right pace and in the right direction.
Denis de Montpion, François Hollande seemed to be answering some of the criticism that we heard by warning the French that those are really hard times. At times he sounded like his predecessor, Nicolas Sarkozy, but he also wanted to affirm that he is listening and that he's willing maybe to do more. The parliamentary session was advanced for 2 weeks now. It's starting next week. So it seems that there is maybe a realization that
I don't think François Hollande ignores anything of the situation, because even during the campaign, he always mentioned that the crisis was deep, and that's why actually he never promised anything to anyone. And now he's elected. It's true that people are very impatient. Why? Because you have 3 million unemployed people, and he doesn't show, at least up to now, to have the tools, to make a miracle to get out of the crisis. Besides, he's very aware that he cannot do, and France can't do anything on its own. It can't be solved if there's not, a European solution to the problem.
Right. But is there maybe a disappointment because François Hollande won the presidency, the Socialists won an absolute majority in parliament on their own, and so maybe there was expectation in the public opinion that something more radical could be done very quickly.
I'm not sure of that. I don't think people were expecting radical decisions from François Hollande, because, as Denis said, during the campaign, he was very, very serious on his proposal. He was always trying to say that he will only do what is possible to do. So I don't think it is the problem. I think one of the problem is the fact that during the summer they have done a lot of things was just coming back on what Sarkozy made during his mandate. And even in the speech, we just listened the fact that he was saying it's not time to look who's responsible for what. But it came after 5 minutes where he said that during 10 years the right made the wrong choice. So it's really interesting to see that he said, I don't want to discuss the past, but he was discussing the past 2 minutes before. So it's still a problem for Hollande to change the fact that he's no more a candidate, he's no more doing a campaign against Sarkozy. The French are forgetting Sarkozy now, and now they are just looking at what Hollande is doing, and for the moment, he still has difficulty to make choice, not comparing to Sarkozy.
Right.
They want someone who makes a decision, who is capable to make it, to make decisions, and they don't have this feeling. I don't say it is not going to come, but time is passing, and that gives to all of us the feeling that this government is not active enough.
Your magazine has its cover saying, and if Sarkozy was right, because on several of the key issues, be it the fight against crime, the issue of the gypsies in France, or competitive, as you say, maybe the socialists are now facing reality, and it's a difficult thing to admit.
And they show that there is no alternative. This headline is provocative, but it's not to say that Sarkozy should rule again the country, not at all. It's just to say that the socialists have built all their campaign against Sarkozy, and now they're trapped by this strategy because they are clearly obliged to do more or less the same on several questions, except one, where there could be a difference, and we don't see any. It is on economy. Sarkozy was not good at economy. He said something terrible. He said we left the crisis far behind us, which was
he was wrong.
Absolutely
I don't
untrue.
Think the French people are impatient to see Sarkozy back, really, as a matter of fact. And Christian was right to say that it was a bit provocative, because after all, in 5 years, he acted a lot. He did, or at least he announced that he would do a lot of things. But in 5 years' time, people realized that it was not good enough, and they decided to not re-elect him. So I don't think we can always, compare Hollande to Sarkozy. It's time to look, forward than backward.
But what I was alluding to earlier is that now Hollande is on certain issues pivoting and having more or less the same arguments that maybe Nicolas Sarkozy was having before, because the reality is different in terms of raising taxes maybe, or because they realize that the coffers are empty.
No, right. But besides, there is a change of style between the two men, between Sarkozy and Hollande. And Hollande has always been, in favor of negotiation, and it's maybe why it takes so long. After all, there's no panic, because we're only the 5th of September, and they're going to have in the coming days, meeting with unions and the MEDEF in order to
the bosses union.
That's right, yeah. In order to see how they can at least maybe put the young people coming on the market towards a job. And so things, we should give him a bit of time.
Right, but that's the issue, Bruno Jambard. Maybe the legacy of Nicolas Sarkozy, or maybe it's us, the old news channels, that have made people impatient, that there is maybe this notion that, everything has to happen quickly, whereas, as Denis just pointed out, François Hollande is maybe more in favor of quiet, long, and thorough negotiations, but that's not the fashion today.
Well, of course, it's difficult with the media to do like that, but I think people are not so impatient to see a lot of change. But as it was said before, I think for the moment they don't really see the change. It's not the fact that everything has been done during the summer. It's only the thing that they are not sure that it will change with Hollande, and they are really asking themselves, will it be really different with Hollande, or will it be quite the same with someone different? But the only difference will be that it is François Hollande who is running the country and not Nicolas Sarkozy, but the policy will stay the same.
Do you think that there's also maybe and maybe it's normal because you have to adjust to power in a way, the way the president functions with the prime minister and the government? Do you think it's working rather smoothly, or do you think there are some serious problems that need to be addressed?
I think there was a very good idea of François Hollande behind all of that. Sarkozy had abolished the function of prime minister, and that was not good for the country. That's why he paid. For
our viewers, there was a prime minister, but you don't consider he was a real prime minister.
No, he was
just
not.
For the
all
record.
the decisions were made in the Élysée Palace, and Sarkozy took all the responsibility. That's why he was, honestly, how could I say? He was much older than he was after 1 or 2 years. We have seen him too much, and he has paid that in front of the voters. So Hollande has a good idea to restore the institution of the Fifth Republic and to give the Prime Minister more responsibility. The question is the choice of the Prime Minister. In this case, absolutely. In this case, the Prime Minister must be a charismatic man who works, of course, in confidence with the president, but who has to be charismatic. It's not the feeling we have today, and the true name of the prime minister in the French constitution is chief of the government. Is he the chief of the government? I don't know.
Serious questions about the casting as prime minister, or is it too early?
It's a bit early, really, to blame Ayrault, because we've had 2 months holiday in France. Though the government didn't go went only 2 weeks. Yeah, but it's true. They haven't taken many decisions in July, as Bruno recalled. They just haven't done what Sarkozy had done ultimately, and I think we have to wait at least 1 or 2 months to see what direction the government will take, really.
Okay.
Well, waiting is not a good strategy.
Okay, it seems impatience is the word. We have to end it here. I'm sorry. Thank you very much to all of you, and thank you for watching this edition of Politics here on France 24.